I'm going to go over a problem which focuses on the concepts of a fixed area and a changing perimeter. As I read this, please highlight the important information that is on your paper. The rangers in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park want to build several inexpensive storm shelters. The shelters must have 36 square meters of floor space. Suppose that the walls are 1 meter wide and cost $125. Now what I'd like you to do is to take your highlighter and highlight the important information. One of the things that we want to focus in on is that the fixed area of 36 square meters. We also want to highlight the word space. That will also indicate that we're talking about area. On the last line, we want to highlight that the walls are 1 meter wide and the cost of each wall is $125. Now we're going to use this information to fill in our table on the next page. If you look at this table, we're going to start with the column that is listed area. We're going to use our algebra formula length times width to help us solve this problem. One of the important information that we highlighted that all these rectangles that we're going to design have an area of 36 meters squared. So we can record this information in this table under the column area. Now when you are given a set area, which is a product, you want to think of the factors of 36, meaning what times what would give you 36. The one thing about a table is that you want to keep it organized. So we want to start with the width as being 1 and the longest length, which is 36. If you proceed down in order, that will eliminate any error of missing any factors of 36. So we have 2 times 18 meters. We go down to the next grouping of factors, which is 3 meters times 12 meters, which gives you an area of 36. We continue down. We have 4 meters times 9 meters. And there is no 5 because 5 is not a factor of 36. So we want to go on to the next factor, which is 6 meters by 6 meters. Now to solve the perimeter of all these rectangles, we want to use the algebraic expression of length plus width plus length plus width. Or we could simplify that by doing 2 times the length plus width. So let's look at the column length and width. We have 36 plus 1 is 37, and let's double that, and we will get an answer of 74 meters. The next one, 18 plus 2 is 20, and we double that, is 40 meters. 12 plus 3 is 15, and we double that, it's 30 meters. 9 plus 4 is 13, and double that, it's 26 meters. And 6 plus 6 equals 12, and double that is 24 meters. Now that we have our perimeter of our rectangles, we're going to able to solve the problem of the total cost of each of these storm shelters. Because when we want to find the total cost of the shelter, we want to think of the perimeter times each wall, which the wall is on the perimeter, each wall unit being $125 each, to write our number sentence. So we have 125 times 74. Okay. Which equals $9,250. $250. We go to the next rectangle, the 18 by 2, which is 125 times 40, which is the perimeter. 125 times 40. And we get $5,000 for that storm shelter. The next storm shelter is a 12 by 3, which has a perimeter of 30. Which total cost is $3,750. Our next 9 by 4, which has a perimeter of 26, has a total cost of $3,250. And our final rectangle, which is a square, times 24, which equals a total cost of $3,000. Now looking at this chart, and if you were the Rangers and you had to build a storm shelter, you can see which rectangle would cost the most to build and which would cost the least to build. So the one that is most square-like has the smallest perimeter of 24, so it has the smallest cost because it requires the least amount of walls and therefore the least amount. Okay? If you look at the other direction, we have the biggest one here, and it has the most money because it has the biggest perimeter and the most amount of walls. So now what we're going to do is draw our rectangles. So if you look on this paper, we have our long thin one, the one that costs the most. We have the 1 by 36. We have the 2 by 18. We have the 3 by 12. We have the 4 by 9. And finally we have the 6 by 6. So when we have to make a judgment, and we have to pick which shape would cost the least expensive shelter we have discovered is the one that is most square-like. It was the 6 meters by 6 meters that gave us the smallest perimeter of 24. And that's where the cost is on the walls. So the total cost of that shelter is $3,000. Now when we look at the most expensive one, that would be the long skinny rectangle, the one that has the 36 meters by 1 meters. And it gives us a perimeter of 74 meters. The total cost of the rectangle shelter is $9,250. So you'd be less apt to pick that one if you were on a budget.